BIONICLE Legends 5 Inferno. Written by Greg Farsty. Recording by Dungeoner Herald. Chapter 8. The Matoran resistance members led the Toanuva up to the main floor of the Piraka stronghold. The building was in sad shape, with entire walls blown out by the battles that had been fought there. Now all was quiet. The Matoran almost dreaded what they might see. What if the BIONICLE had lost? To their surprise, there were no bodies to be seen. The virus chamber had changed significantly. The crystal vat had been shattered, and there was no sign of the antidermis virus anywhere. Another wall had been smashed, evidently by a being or force more powerful than any yet unleashed in the room. Even the rubble had been pulverized. "What went through there?" wondered Kazi. "One problem at a time," answered Balta. "The Kanohi masks are through here." The Matoran watched in silence as the Toanuva reclaimed their masks. The act seemed to re-energize them. Tahunuva turned to Garan and shook the Onamatoran's hand. "We thank you," he said. "Now, where are these Toa and Nika you spoke of?" "I wish I knew," Garan replied. "Toa Jaller said—" "Wait a moment," Tahu interrupted. "Toa Jaller?" "That's right. He and Toa Kongu and Toa Matoru." Liwanuva chuckled. "Kongu, a Toa hero. Oh, this I must see." "When you have finished being amused, Liwa, they may well need our help," said Kopaka. Garan nodded. "Here's hoping they aren't already beyond help." Zaktan smiled.
"We have been awake for some time now, of course. We just felt it made more sense for you to exhaust yourselves in battle for the Mask of Life. Now that you have it, we will take it."
"You mean you'll try," said Huki, "and fail." Both sides braced for the fight, but it was not to happen. The effect of the Zamor sphere on Vizon and Cardus had faded. Although it left both too weak to be a threat for the moment, Cardus was not going to be defeated so easily. As the beast collapsed, it unleashed one last blast of energy that struck Matoru. The shock made him lose his grip on the Mask of Life. The Piraka started forward, ready to scramble for the mask when it hit the ground. Except it never did fall to the floor. Instead, it hovered in midair before flashing out of the chamber almost too fast for the eye to follow. It was headed back the way the Toa and Piraka had come. Zaktan and his team turned to go after it. The Toa and Nika ran forward, too, determined to get it first. "Huki!" Jaller shouted, pointing at the Piraka. The Toa and Nika of Stone nodded and loosed his elemental powers on the enemy. Stone vices erupted from the floor to grab all 6 Piraka and hold them fast. Zaktan avoided the trap by dissipating into a swarm of protodytes, only to be flash frozen in the next moment by Matoru. "That buys us maybe 10 seconds, said Huki. "Then that will have to be enough," Jaller replied, racing up the staircase. The 6 Toa and Nika ran as if their very universe depended on it, for in truth it did. So fast were they moving that they did not notice the words of fire forming on the stairs beneath their feet, words that read, "Beware the depths of darkness, that wait with chill embrace, for those doomed to dwell within the pit can never leave that place. No one will know your fate if taken by the shadowed sea. Only whispers of the waves will say, death has at last claimed thee." As Huki had predicted, it took the Piraka only seconds to shatter their bonds. They debated for a moment whether to free Zaktan or not, then decided they would need their full strength to stop the Toa and Nika.
"What about Vizon?" said Thok. "He's still alive. Do we just leave him here?"
"No," snarled Vezok. "We don't." He marched toward the Spear of Fusion, saying, "Someone use this on me and Vizon. I want to be one being again."
"We don't have time for that,"
snapped Zaktan.
"Come on."
"No," yelled Vizok. "We do this now." Zaktan nodded at Radok. The ebon-armored Piraka reached Vizok in 2 quick strides and brushed him aside. Then he seized the Spear of Fusion and, before Vizok could react, broke it in 2, and then broke both halves again. Satisfied, he threw the pieces at Vizok's feet.
"They're done. Let's go," said Radok. "Or do you want some of the same?"
The Toa and Nika had been lucky. Their passage back up the staircase had been unimpeded by guardians. Apparently, the mask's protectors were in place to stop anyone from reaching the lower chamber, not those fleeing from it. Still, the mask managed to stay just ahead of them. Attempts to use elemental powers to slow it down or stop it all met with failure.
Motoru offered to unleash his spirit and have it fly ahead to see where the mask was heading, but Jollar turned him down.
He wasn't going to leave Motoru's body unprotected on this staircase, with the Piraka right behind. The mask of life shot out of the stairway entrance and into a driving rainstorm. The Toa followed right after it, fighting to keep pace. The many rounds of battle followed by this chase had made their limbs feel like lead, and their lungs burned with exhaustion. The mask never hesitated. It shot away to the north, heading for the bay. Noparu launched himself into the sky and flew after it, at one time almost coming close enough to grab it. It seemed like every time the mask was lost from view of the other Toa and Nika, it would slow down slightly, as if it wanted them to keep up.
"It's leading us somewhere," Noparu shouted down. "I don't see any traps ahead, though."
"If you could easily see them," grumbled Kongu, "then they wouldn't be very good traps." The chase continued over rocky slopes until both Mask and Toa reached the icy coastline. The Mask flew past the edge of the land and hovered for just a moment before plunging into the water. Toa Hali immediately went after it. As soon as she dove, Motoru's body collapsed as the spirit went to follow her down. The mask of life was easy to follow even in the murky water, for it gave off a telltale glow. Not so easy was going down after it, as the pressure increased beyond even the tolerance of a Toa of water. More than once, Hali wished she had Toa Nuvagali's mask of water breathing to sustain her. Her lungs were desperate for air, and the mask was no closer to being in her grasp. Suddenly, she faltered. The water pressure increased abruptly, forcing air from her lungs. Water rushed in to fill the void, and Hali began to drown. Motoru watched in horror, unable to affect her physically while in spirit form. His only hope was to flash back to the surface and get the others. He was gone in an instant. He never saw the small shape swimming rapidly up from the depths toward Hali. Back on the coastline, Motoru's body suddenly bolted up from the ground. "Hali's drowning!" The other Toa made for the water, Jollar already figuring out a rescue plan. He never had to use it. Hali's body suddenly appeared on the surface. All five and Nika wondered if they had been too late and their companion was dead. Then she sputtered and coughed, the sweetest sound any of the Anika had ever heard. Jollar went to pull her back to shore. That was when he noticed someone was already holding her. A head broke the surface, wearing a Kanohi mask. It was a Matoran. Toa Jollar helped both him and Hali to the beach. The Toa of water was already recovering, but the Matoran collapsed as soon as he hit land. "Who are you?" said Jollar. "Where did you come from?"
"No time," gasped the Matoran. "Help us, city beneath the sea. Help us, or we're lost."
"What city?" asked Huki. "And what are you talking about?" But the Matoran wasn't saying any more. His heart light stopped shining, and his eyes faded to black. He was dead. The Piraka had seen the entire turn of events from up among the rocks. The mask of life was lost, temporarily, and the Toa and Nika were exhausted and confused. It was a perfect time to strike.
"We'll split up," said Zaktan. "I'll take Redok and Vizok this way. Hakan, Thok, and Avok attack from the left. We'll trap them between us."
The two teams started in opposite directions, but had gone only a little way when Avok said,
"Wait, look."
On the edge of the jungle, the Piraka could see a most unwelcome assemblage of beings. The 6 Matoran who had made up the
Voyanui resistance were standing with Axon
and the freed Toanuva. A defeated Brutaka was being carried by some entity the Piraka did not know, and that same being was deep in conversation with Tahunuva. As they watched, the strange being and Brutaka vanished in a wisp of smoke.
Does anyone think we can beat 12 Toa and Axon without Brutaka's help?
Asked Thok. When no one answered, he added,
Didn't think so.
So, that's it? We give up?
said Bredok. Zakta and his prototypes buzzed angrily.
No, we've come too far for that. Not to mention that having the Mask of Life is the only thing that will keep us safe from the Dark Hunters when we leave this island,
said Hakan.
I doubt the Shadowed One was very pleased with our defection. We watch,
said Zaktan,
and we wait for the perfect time to strike. Let the Toa think we are defeated and have fled Voyanui. That is the Toa's greatest weakness. They're always so quick to believe they have won.
Matoru stood over the body of the dead villager. Madanui, watch over him. He sacrificed his life to save mine, said Toahali. That may make him a greater hero than any of us. And he brought us more mysteries, said Huki. Who was this Matoran? What killed him? What city was he talking about? And why did the Mask of Life vanish beneath the waves? Tokongu shook his head.
Why do I deep think we're all about to go for a swim?
End of chapter 8.